Hey everybody, so are you ready for a good old-fashioned book haul? I'm here to tell you about a stack of books coming out in the coming months that you are going to want to have on your TBR. I promise. So, let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. I am. I'm actually going to see an author on Friday, which I'm really excited about. It has been a while. Ryan and I haven't been in like a month. And we are trying to get out there more to see more authors. So it's been really, really fun this year to do so. And I am reading some really great books that I can't wait to tell you all about. But today I'm here to tell you about a stack of books that are coming out in the coming months that I am sure you're going to want on your TBR. So get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of that TBR. If you are so able, please get these books from your local independent bookstores, or if you're a library user, get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. So the first book I'm going to tell you about, when I got an email asking me if I wanted a copy, and it said that it was a combination between Sally Rooney and Celeste Ng. I was in. Like, I didn't need to know anything else about that book because, let me tell you, speaks my language. And that book is Others Were Emeralds by Leav, and this is coming out in September from Harper Perennial. And I want to just make sure. This is set in Australia, in a small town called Whitlam. This is the story of Ai, so AI is her name, and her family moved from Cambodia to this tiny town in Australia as refugees. But now the book starts in the 90s. Her family is sort of established. Ai has friends and a friend group. And then one day, an act of violence, an act of racism that turns into an act of violence changes Ai's world. And instead of dealing with it, she actually flees and goes to college with no intention of ever returning to this town. However, in her second year of college, she winds up having a mental health crisis, and she winds up having to return home. And it says there she reconnects with those she left behind, and together they are compelled to look back on the tragedy that shaped their adolescence and examine the role they may have unwittingly played. I think that sounds amazing. I was sold with just the comparison blurb. So that's Others Were Emeralds by Leav, out from Harper Perennial, and this comes out on September 5th of 2023. So pre-order your copy. I'm probably going to be reading that very, very soon. This book actually just came out this week, and it's actually a reissue, but can we just take a moment and recognize how gorgeous this cover is? Just a moment. It is so beautiful. And this is The Forest Brims Over by Maru, translated from the Japanese by Hayden Trowell, and this is out from Counterpoint Press. And this is a very interesting book. So basically, our main character is a woman who has been used by her husband as a muse for his fiction for a long time. And in it, she is depicted as this woman who takes the greatest of pleasure in sex. And so in that, she has always sort of been that person out there in the world. And one day she gets very frustrated with this, and she wants to change this narrative. So she eats some seeds, and then all of a sudden different parts of her body start to sprout roots and flowers and stuff like that. Her husband tries to keep her in an atrium. He wants to use this as a new story for himself. However, she is not in it, and she gets away, and she becomes a giant forest and winds up taking over the city. So it's like this fantasy narrative about this woman who takes her power back, right? But by turning into a forest and taking over. I'm very interested to see how that all plays out. I still cannot get over this freaking beautiful cover. So that's The Forest Brims Over by Maru, translated from the Japanese by Hayden Trowell, and this is out from Counterpoint Press. Okay. Next is a collection. Actually, I'm going to do two short story collections and an essay collection, which you know, I never have that many in one pile, but all of these, I promise you, are worth your time. The first one I want to tell you about is Holler Child by LaToya Watkins, Dr. LaToya Watkins. If you remember, I read her book Perish that came out, I want to say last year, and I adored it. And I do not think enough people talked about it, but I loved it. And so this book, which is out from Reparation Books, comes out on August 29th. It's her collection of short stories where it says she deals with love lost and gained and grief turned into hope. You know, short story collections are hard to summarize when you haven't read them yet, but this one just arrived, and I want you to read LaToya Watkins. She is a phenomenal writer, and I am so excited. And again, her cover, oh, so beautiful. So thank you, Tiny Reparation Books, for sending this to me. I'm a huge fan. And yeah, please pick it up. It comes out again on August 29th. And if you haven't read Perish, do that before it comes out. I promise you, it's dark. It is dark, but it is very, very good. The next one is a short story collection by an author who was nominated for the National Book Award for fiction for his first story collection, and that is Witness by Jamel Brinkley, and this is out from FSG. It actually comes out on August 1st, so this video will probably come out right after that, which means you can go get your hands on it. Jamal writes books. How would I say it? Mr. Brinkley's writing is very, what's the word I'm looking for? I just find it to be very real, if that's the best word I can come up with. Sounds terrible. But I've already read the first story in this collection, and he has a way of creating time and space in such a few paragraphs, and then the characters just sort of fly off the page, and they're just so real. That's the only word I can think of. And I am fascinated to read this new collection. I loved his collection. Oh gosh, a lucky man. And I thought it was really, really good. I actually thought it was going to win the National Book Award that year, if I'm being honest. But maybe this time. Maybe this. So Jamel Brinkley's Witness, out from FSG, and it probably just came out when I posted this video. Okay. Next is a collection of essays by a woman who wrote a nonfiction book that I loved so much. I recommended it to my friend Chris from the Book Cougars. She loved it so much. So we are talking about Jenn Shapland, and she wrote my autobiography of Carson McCullers, and this is her new collection of essays called Thin Skin, and this is out from Pantheon, and it comes out in August, so you should be able to get your hands on it very, very soon. So you think short stories are hard to hard to summarize. Essay collections are even harder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what it says here. Weaving together historical research, interviews, and her everyday life in New Mexico, Shapland probes the lines between self and work, human and animal, need and desire. She traces the legacies of nuclear weapons development on native land, unable to let go of her search for contamination until it bleeds out into our own family's medical history. She questions the toxic myth of white womanhood and the fear of traveling alone that she's been made to feel since girlhood. And she explores her desire to build a creative life as a queer woman, asking whether such a thing as a meaningful life is possible under capitalism. So, Jen's, she's going to blow me away again. I just know she is. I'm so excited. I don't read that many essay collections, but when you read something by someone, as my autobiography of Carson McCullers blew my mind, I just can't. So, Jenn Shapland's Thin Skin Essays. This is out from Pantheon, and it comes out in August. Let's see if I have an actual date. It just says August 2023. I'm very, very excited for that. Okay, back to some fiction, just the things that I normally do, but all of them you're going to want to read, I promise. A House for Alice by Diana Evans is coming out from Pantheon in September 2023. I think this book is actually already out in the UK, because I remember when I was trying to post a picture of it, I had a hard time finding the US version, because I think that the UK version came out a bit ago. Okay, we're in 2017. The book opens with two events. One is an explosion in a building, in a residential high-rise, that kills a number of people. And that event is going on at the same time as Cornelius Winston Pitt, the patriarch of the Pitt family, passes away. And these two tragedies open this book, and it becomes a story of the women who are shaken by the loss of the father and also everything else that's going on. At the heart of it is Alice, that is the matriarch of the family, who after 50 years of living in London and being married has decided she wants to return home to Nigeria, to our homeland of Nigeria, to live out the rest of her life. And her daughters are sort of on the fence on whether or not they feel that this is a good idea. And it becomes about these family dynamics. Obviously, all of the daughters are going to have their own stories, but it's really about Alice and sort of finding herself after the loss of her husband, and with everything that's going on and what really was at the heart of this attack on this high rise. So that's A House for Alice by Diana Evans. She wrote Ordinary People. Was that longlisted for either the Booker or the Women's Prize? I cannot remember. I have it on my shelf. I read it ages ago. September 2023 here in the US. Get your hands on it right now. Okay. Next is a book that is already out, and if we're looking for a little witchy summer read, may I recommend Wildwood Magic by Willa Reese. This is out from Redhook fiction, and this is exactly what I said. It's a story of witches. We have our main character is Rachel Smith. She moves to the Appalachian Mountains to this apple orchard to escape a terrible relationship where she had a violent husband, and she's sort of trying to move on, and the nature of it all has brought her there. And I love the way the book says it. It says that this orchard brought her there for a reason, and it's to meet all of these women who are a tight community of wise women or witches, right? And she gets introduced and taught the magic of the world. But it says, as Rachel's past is creeping in, a preacher with a familiar face has stormed into town, and his dangerous sermons may damn Rachel and the people she has come to love to the flames. So that is Wildwood Magic by Willa Reese, and it is, I feel like, if you read Wayward, which I really liked, I think you'll really like this one as well. Out from Redhook, you can get your hands on it as we speak. Okay. Next is, and last, gosh, that went through this stack fast. But how about we do a little more? We started with translated fiction. Let's end with translated fiction. And this is Beyond the Door of No Return by David Diop. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And this is translated from the French by Sam Taylor. This is coming out from FSG, and it comes out on September 19th. And he won the International Booker Prize for At Night, All Blood is Black. Do you remember that? That was a few years ago now, right? And this is his new novel coming out in English here in the United States. But this one I need a little bit of help with. So I started this one. I'm actually through the first 4 chapters. They're short, so I'm not that far in. But it starts in Paris in 1806. We are on the deathbed of this renowned botanist. His name is Michael. And he has this masterwork that he has dedicated his life to. And as he dies, the last thing he says is the name of a woman, Marum. A-M-A-R-A-M, Marum. And then this is what it says. The key to this mysterious woman's identity is Michael's unpublished memoir of the years he spent in Senegal, concealed in a secret compartment in a chest of drawers. Therein lies a story as fantastical as it is tragic. Marum, it turns out, is none other than the fabled Revenant, a young woman of noble birth from the kingdom of Wallo. Marum was sold into slavery but managed to escape from the island of Gori, a major embarkation, a word that I should be able to say, point for the transatlantic slave trade, to a small village hidden in the forest. While on a research expedition in West Africa as a young man, Michael hears the story of the Revenant and becomes obsessed with finding her. Accompanied by his guide, he ventures deep into the Senegalese bush on a journey that reveals not only the savagery of the French colonial occupation, but also the unlikely transports of the human heart. And I believe when I started this, it's his daughter who picks up this manuscript after he passes. And she's never been close to her father. So there's all of that as well. So that's Beyond the Door of No Return by David Diop. And this is translated from the French by Sam Taylor. That was what I said, Sam Taylor. And it's out from FSG on September 19th, 2023. So look, I am reading, I promise you. Been busy, but I still have so many amazing books that I have to tell you about them all. So there you go. That's a stack. That's a nice little book haul right there. As always, if you're a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you. And I hope that you hit subscribe and click the button. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.